Welcome to the Namib Desert Expedition. Super exciting, but probably also slightly overwhelming. What to bring, where to start, what's all the gear you need? Obviously, the moment you hit Google, you will find a million different recommendations. What I have done together with my expedition team, and I work with Namibia's #1 leading expedition team, we have put together what has worked over the years, what has been tested, what's truly working for the guys out there in the desert. I've tested a lot of the equipment myself, and I have to say, it's a pretty good substantial list now with everything that you will need to get you safely through the desert. I've also put it together in the Namib Desert Expedition packing list. So let's go through it step by step so I can walk you through and you understand a bit more about what you need to happily get through the Namib Desert. So let's start with one of the most important things. A cap or a hat with as much sun protection as possible. You definitely need to have a shield and you definitely need to cover your neck. What you can do if you don't want to have one of those with neck protection, you can also combine it with a scarf. You can also wear a sun hat. I wouldn't recommend it because something more sporty, something that lasts a bit longer also, if there were a bit of wind, is definitely highly recommended. Next thing on the list are sunglasses. Don't bring the super fancy fashion ones. Bring sports glasses that are as tight as possible around the sides. Make sure you have a good UV protection in them and make sure that they sit comfortably. Minimum category 3 protection is recommended. And you want to have some that look nice on you too. A buff, another thing that I highly recommend you bring. Some people wear it during the day. I actually wear it a lot at nights because it keeps my neck warm and cozy, because it does get cold at night in the desert. And we'll talk about it a bit later, what else to bring. But a buff, always handy. Now, the next thing that's an absolute must is sunscreen. Do not even think about going lower than 50. 50 is a bare minimum. It works well. I normally bring one bigger bottle that I use to apply sunscreen in the mornings, and I bring a smaller one for the days out in the desert, because I certainly do not want to carry this one if I can carry this one. Also, bring sun protection lipstick. It really helps. Again, 50 plus. Absolute must. Now, what are you going to wear in terms of shirts? Yes, you can wear a t-shirt. I highly recommend you get long sleeves. This, for example, is one I bought of Arc'teryx, 50 plus sun protection, super lightweight, super comfortable, and it gives a lot of additional protection. That's just nice to have. I normally bring two are heaps. The good thing about the Namib is it's one of the most arid places in the world, meaning you don't sweat. You literally do not sweat. So it's okay to go through the Namib with 2 long sleeve shirts. I normally bring a few t-shirts as well, just so that you've got something to wear when we're getting to the desert, when you're on the plane, just to have some nice shirts that you can change around. Also, what I do bring is normally a dress when we're going on safari. We start the expedition with a beautiful visit in a safari lodge. Obviously, you don't want to already wear your desert gear there, so it's nice to have a dress. Pants, very important. Can you wear shorts? Yes, you can. I wouldn't recommend it. And normally, we all wear long hiking pants. Make sure they fit comfortably, make sure they're nice, make sure you feel comfortable in them. I normally bring 2. This is these were a pair of hiking pants. This is a pair of mountain biking pants. They're particularly comfy because what's really nice is they have these holes here, so they're even more breathable. They're relatively tight around the ankles, which is good because it again helps prevent sand from getting into your shoes. I normally bring a pair of shorts as well, but more to walk around camp in the afternoons or to wear in Windhoek. Pants. Tights. Some people really prefer to wear yoga pants or leggings tights. I don't particularly like them, but again, it's your preference as long as you wear something that protects your legs from sand, because sometimes we do get a bit of a sand blow. I haven't yet had a full-on sandstorm, but it could happen, and you don't want to be wearing shorts when you're in the middle of a sandstorm. That's like sand blasting. Lightweight waterproof jacket. So it doesn't need to be a full-on rain jacket. What it needs to be is light, and it needs to cover you. This is incredibly helpful when it gets slightly colder towards the afternoons, especially as we get closer to the Atlantic Ocean. The temperatures actually drop quite significantly. If ever there were a sandstorm, you want to have one of these. Mine packs extremely nicely, doesn't weigh a lot, but helps a lot. And I've worn it quite a bit in the desert, especially in the late afternoons during our hikes, and sometimes when we had a little bit of wind blowing. They really make a difference. Now let's get to another very important part. All my underwear is normally in one of these, so I can find it easily. Undies, bras, as comfortable as possible. And now socks. Da, 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 da. Some call them the world's unsexiest socks. I call them pure bliss because they help to prevent, hang on, yeah, I've only got, hang on, 5, need 5. They prevent sweat from getting in between the toes, rubbing, and then forming blisters. These are for some a bit weird to use in the beginning, but they are powerful, beautiful, and highly recommended. What we do, we use a 2-sock system, which means over those toe socks we put a normal hiking sock, just to make sure we prevent blisters as much as possible. There are 3 main reasons why people have to end desert hikes, desert runs, not that we're doing a run, desert expeditions. Number 1, blisters. Number 2, dehydration. Number 3, sunstroke. And seriously, these are so easy to prevent. So 2-sock system it is. We're going to get to the shoes and further blister prevention shortly. But those are the 3, and we've never had any issues with them, simply because we do take prevention very seriously. We've got a medic on the team, which is something that I would highly recommend anyone who goes into the desert. We never go into the desert without a medic, simply because the risk is too high. We've never had an issue, but if we did have one, I want her there. And with the prevention, we just avoid having any problems. So socks, we covered. Next thing is nightwear. I bring my pajamas because I want to be comfortable at night. We do have individual tents. Everyone has really lovely soft mattresses. And on the mattress, or integrated in the mattress, is a sleeping bag. Most people say they're totally fine. I tend to be the one that always gets cold the first, so I bring an additional sleeping bag. I don't normally bring this beast. I get a smaller one that I can then, a cheap one, that I can then leave in Namibia with the ladies that we're visiting on the last day. But for me, the setup that we do have there personally is slightly too cold. So if you do tend to get cold, bring an additional bag, sleeping bag. It doesn't hurt, and we just want to make sure that you sleep well, because we've got such amazing days. We've got the most incredible experiences, and you don't want to ruin it by not getting enough sleep because you're cold. So that said, let's get to the next really important part, hiking boots. There are different schools of what to best wear. Our recommendation is clearly desert hiking boots. They're high, which means the higher they are, the less sand can get in. Also, they're sealed to the top, which also prevents sand from getting in. You get sand in your boots, you get blisters, game over. So you want to have something that prevents the sand from getting in as best possible. These are very stable, they're lightweight, they're breathable, they are very comfortable, and they're solid leather. I've been to the desert, I would say 13, 14 times now. I've only seen a snake once, and it was a tiny little baby snake. But if ever there were a snake, I want to have a solid boot that the snake can't go through. We do sometimes get people that wear these. They are extremely comfortable. I wear them on safaris. They are even lighter, but they don't go as high. They don't have the sand protection, so sand can get in. And if ever there were an animal, I don't want to risk it, but you can. Sometimes people also prefer to wear sneakers. This is obviously not a suitable sneaker. This is the sneaker I wear around camp. But what you then have to do, you have to put Velcro around the sneaker and then wear desert gaiters. That it's basically an extra layer that closes off the shoes. So again, to prevent sand from getting into your shoe. Sand means blisters, means game over. No need. One thing that people always discuss at length is what size to wear. I'm normally a 39. I've got 40 for my desert hiking boots because you do need to fit those double socks in there. Do you need 41? Do you need to go 2 sizes up? No. But what you need to do is get the boots, try them out with 2 socks and see if they fit. If it feels comfortable, if you can walk properly in them, because the last thing you want is to be too tight in those shoes, but you also don't want to have a lot of room, because you don't want to be too loose in those shoes either. Let's get to the next page, poles. It might seem a bit awkward to use poles in the desert, but from experience I can tell you they make all the difference. Try to get poles that you can easily pack away, where you can also change the height. And I use these currently for hiking. What you need in the desert are the big skiing tables. The more surface, the better grip you have in the dunes. Now, not all dunes are soft sand, but for those with soft sand, it really makes a difference. So do get the skiing ones. And what I also highly recommend are gloves, little bicycle gloves. You get them in sports stores in the biking section. Oh, it just makes it so much more comfortable. A little bit of padding makes all the difference. Because walking with poles for 5 days is something most people aren't used to. Compass. You do need a little compass. I have one that's built into my whistle. Also something that you definitely need. Next thing on the list is a little multi-tool. I have a Swiss Army knife that comes with basically everything I would ever need in the desert. No need to bring a big, fat, heavy Leatherman. It's just too heavy. What you do need to bring is a head torch, especially for going to the toilet at night. You don't want to be stumbling around. You want to know exactly where you're going. So we set up beautiful sit-down toilets a little bit outside the camp, and you do want to have your hands free when you go there. Portable charger. Highly recommended when you shoot millions of photos during the day and might have to recharge your phone during the day. So normally we carry our phones in our day packs just to be able to take photos. There's no reception, no coverage in the desert, but you can take million-dollar shots. In the camps that our expedition team sets up every night in the most beautiful remote places, We do have solar panels. We can charge cameras, phones, whatever you want to bring. But again, if your phone battery goes flat, you do want to bring a little extra charger. Mirror. Da, 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 flattest mirror in the world. So this is, this is not to check if you look good. This is actually in case you ever were to get into an emergency situation. By reflecting the sun, this is the easiest way to call for help. No one will ever be left behind. No one will ever be left alone. But even in groups, if you do need to signal to a further away person to then possibly signal to someone else, this is a super easy way. We've never had to use them so far. They've only been beauty mirrors, but it's just handy to have them. Mirror. Whistle, I already said, I've got a combined whistle, compass, and actually thermostat, which is good because it's nice to know how hot it is, but whichever you get, just a cheap one that works. Tape. Get some gaffer tape, duct tape, Panzerband in German, whatever you want to call it. If something tears, if something breaks, always handy to have. Not often that we need it, but when you need it, you want to have it. Now we get to the next absolute must. Water carrying system. During the day, we hike 3 sections. So we normally start around 9 o'clock in the morning, hike for 2.5, 3 hours till we get to the first pit stop. There we can refill water, we have some snacks, some fruits, just to get a bit of energy. Then we head off for the second section, another 2 hours roughly, 2.5 hours. Then we have our lunch break. Again, we can replenish water, we get our lunches to then depart on the third section. On those sections, it is recommended to drink a minimum of 2 liters. Now I've got my water bladder that holds 1.5 liters. It's got the sucking system, which is really important because you constantly want to drink. In the desert, you never drink when you're thirsty. You always drink before you're thirsty. Then it has a very big opening, a big mouth, which is good and handy as you also, and we get to that later, need to put in the electrolytes, and you just want to have it as easy as possible. This one you can take out so you can clean it, all nice and good. Now I said you need to drink at least 2 liters in those sections. In order to do so, I have another small, very lightweight bottle. Once I've finished it, I actually pack it. It's super light and it doesn't take any space. Super handy. That's my first liter, and then I've got 1.5 liters, and that's plenty. Most important thing, drink throughout the day constantly. And the next thing we're going to talk about in a second are the electrolytes, because we don't drink plain water, we drink water with electrolytes in order to prevent dehydration. But let's get to the day packs first. Now most people would assume you carry a backpack. Yeah, you can. You can put a whole lot of things in there. It gets heavy, it sits on your shoulders, and a lot of people, especially women, struggle with too much weight on their shoulders. That's why I highly recommend a hip bag. Now those hip bags are super handy. All the weight sits on your hips. You've got both arms free for your poles. Super easy. The Osprey Ceral 7 liters of capacity, fits everything you need. It's going to be tight, but it all fits in there. It actually comes with a splatter, 1.5 liter. I put in my windbreaker, as I said, super small and light. I put in sunscreen, and obviously this is not what I want to carry around. This is what I put in there, light and just enough for the day. I put in my lip balm, I put in my medical pack, and we get to that in a second. The whistle, the mirror, enough electrolytes, we'll speak about those in a second. I put in my phone, because I do want to take photos, and little bit of snacks, muesli bar, trail mix, nuts, gummy bears, whatever it is you might fancy, put it in there. Sometimes it's just so nice to eat something that you enjoy whilst you're hiking. Bring it on, and there is on the sides enough space to put in some little snack. Backpack or hip bag, totally your choice. My recommendation is clearly hip bag, but try it out if it works for you. I would say 80% of the people that have tried it actually prefer the hip bag. Some say it doesn't work for them, then use the backpack. Just make sure you don't put too much stuff in it. You don't want to carry additional weight. Then breakfast and dinner. Oh my God, where shall I start? We're on an expedition. You would expect to get pretty lousy food. Maybe some dry stuff, some sandwiches. We bring the most amazing chefs to the desert because for me it's important that people eat well and sleep well. And eating well is not just in terms of nutrition, but also in terms of getting like the most amazing food. Just imagine you've been hiking the whole day and you get back to camp and the chefs wait with the most amazing salads and soups and vegetables and meat dishes, vegan, gluten-free, whatever it is, they have it. And it does make people very happy. We also have really nice breakfasts. Lunch are also interesting because over the years we've developed a system that really works well. Everyone has different likings, different preferences. So what we do, everyone prepares their own lunch. This way you can put in as much cheese as you want. You can choose, do you want to have a wrap? Do you want to have a salad? Do you want to have a sandwich? You choose whatever you like best. Do you want beef on it? Do you want salami? Do you want chicken? Do you want heaps of black pepper? You choose. Do you want mayonnaise? Do you want spicy peri-peri sauce? I wouldn't want it. Maybe you do. So everyone prepares their lunch in a way that they will then have a proper highlight after the second section when they get into the little pit stop camp. That's when they have their perfect lunch. Next one, electrolytes. Total must. Dehydration is one of the main reasons why people have issues in the desert. We have never had an issue because our medic makes sure we have enough intake of electrolytes. You sweat in the Namib like you've never... No, you don't sweat. You don't sweat, but you evaporate, basically. Sometimes during the day, we don't, like you drink 6, 7, 8 liters of water and you don't go to the toilet. It just evaporates. What your body needs are good medical electrolytes. Now, what we've also discovered over the years is that when people buy them, often they aren't as good as they're supposed to be. Some are, even the really expensive ones from the pharmacy, can have wrong ingredients or not the ingredients we need. So what we do a bulk order of the proper ones in Namibia, recommended and tested by our medic, and those come in orange, vanilla and blackcurrant, and they're actually quite nice for electrolytes. And it's something you just have to get used to, because without electrolytes you wouldn't make it through. Simple as that. Blister care. So we said, number 1, prevent a sunstroke from happening. Number 2, prevent dehydration. And number 3, and that's a really, I mean, that would be a really nasty one to have to stop an expedition, is blister care. The way the system we're working has gotten us to a point where we have pretty much no blisters at all. And that's quite an achievement, something I'm very proud of. What we do, on potential hotspots, we put Compete. And this is not any advertising. This is just years of testing. These are the best ones. Compete simply works the best, sorry to say. We put a Compete Band-Aid, then we stabilize it, fix it with tape. Then we add 2 layers of socks, and then we're fine. Every time a hot spot starts to happen and you have this feeling of, ooh, this could potentially stop, we stop on the track, we put a Band-Aid on, we make it safe, and so far, touch wood, we've been doing really, really well. Last year at the expedition, out of all the ladies, 1 lady had 1 blister. She didn't stop when she felt a hot spot because she thought it was not necessary. Well, I can tell you, it is. So every morning before we take off, we do a foot clinic together with our medic, and she makes sure that we are all safe and set up for the day. What you need is definitely a good enough supply of Compete blister Band-Aids. You need tape. That's to fix the Band-Aids to your foot and make sure they don't slip, because in those boots your feet actually do get slightly sweaty. It's the only part of your body where sweat doesn't immediately evaporate because it's in the boots, so you just don't want them to slip. We don't then need a pair of scissors. Army knife is totally fine. We need some alcoholic swabs so you can clean the area around the Band-Aid, where the Band-Aid goes, so it doesn't come off instantly. Tape we've already mentioned. Disinfectant solution, always handy to have. Foot lube. Now that's something I bought it years ago. I've personally never used it. I still carry it around. It's said to help prevent blisters from happening. I've never had to use it, but hey, I've got it. And now something rather unsexy, but extremely helpful. Silicone toe covers. Especially after 3-4 days, some people feel a bit of pressure on their toenails. Put one of those silicone babies around and it's sorted. They come in different sizes. I've ordered a whole lot on Amazon. They're a funny thing to have, but boy, do they help. Really, really good. Now you do need to have your medical foot kit, anti-blister kit definitely ready, because that will help you get through the desert without any issues. Another thing is the medical kit that goes in your day pack. That is mandatory. So you need in the day pack that comes on the hiking trip with you, you need blister Band-Aids, you need some other pads and bandages, you need adhesive dressing, you need basic pain relief, you need any personal medication that you might need. You need enough electrolytes for the day, and our medic will talk you through exactly how many you need to take. You need ideally some antihistamine tablets just in case, antiseptic cream, always handy, hand sanitizer, and it does go in the medical pack. Where is it? Sunscreen. That's not just something nice to have, that's a total must. All this goes in this pack. Yes, it will be tight, but it all fits. Other things that you obviously need to bring on this trip, it's a no-brainer, are personal hygiene articles like your toothbrush. I always take very small toothpaste. There's no need to carry the big 1-liter bottles of sunscreen, of moisturizer. Take small lots. We're only there for 10-11 days in total, so those do help, or they are actually sufficient. Actually, one thing that's really handy for people with longer hair, do bring some hair bands just to tie your hair together. I've also got just a tiny little brush, and all sorts of personal toiletries. Also, I normally carry a little bag with medication, tampons, if you need asthma spray, whatever it is that you need, bring it along. And do bring a duffel bag. Can you bring a suitcase? Yes, of course. but it's just so much handier and easier in the desert to pack it all in a duffel bag. What I do, because they tend to get messy, I've got these little bags, one for my underwear, one for my pants, one for my shirts, one for my, and so on, just so that you've got it sorted. What we sometimes also do is put all these in plastic bags, because sand does go everywhere, and if you want to have, for example, your pajamas sand-free, put them in a little plastic bag and all done. Little bit of casual clothing, obviously. For the first day in the safari camp, I normally bring a nice dress so I can wear something nice, some shorts, just some fleeces, some sports gear, something nice to wear. No need to bring anything super fancy. What is recommended, though, additionally for the camp, are some sneakers that you can wear at night, and some sandals that you can wear as we get out of the hiking boots. It's just nice for the feet to breathe. I also always bring a pair of jeans, just because it does get cold at night. And also when we sit around the bonfire, I don't want my hiking, first of all, I do want to get out of my hiking gear, and I don't want my hiking gear to smell like Miss Bonfire. Yeah. Something else that you might not expect in the desert, it does get relatively cold at night, especially when we get closer to the Atlantic Ocean. Temperatures do drop significantly. So I highly recommend you bring a woolen hat, gloves, even like proper warm gloves, and a down feather jacket. Why? Because you're going to be cold if you don't. So I always bring one that I can easily pack, but a woolen hat, it's nice and cozy. And if it gets cold in your tent, you might even wear that in your sleeping bag. A little towel, where's my towel? Here's my towel. Little towel is always handy to have. We do bring some water into the deserts to wash your face, to quickly freshen up. It's easy to do that with a hiking towel. They are lightweight, they soak up a lot of water, and they're easy enough to carry around. Something super important, small dry bags for all your gear, for your medication, for your phone, for your charger. Next thing you should bring. You don't want to have that full of sand, so bring those little plastic bags, put it in, and it's safe. Camera, phone. I normally bring my iPhone. I always have the latest iPhone in the Pro Max version. It takes phenomenal photos. I have stopped bringing big cameras simply because they're too much of a hassle to carry around, too heavy, and the iPhones take such good photos. Sometimes we do bring a camera and leave it in the car and just take it out during sunsets and in special moments. Up to you, really. But if you do want to carry it throughout the expedition, just be aware they do weigh a lot, and every kilo counts. Every gram counts, actually. Something I just saw I forgot to mention are wet wipes. Always handy to have. And one last thing. Earplugs. We do camp. Normally it's quiet, but sometimes you get the odd snorer, and if you don't want that to bother you, do bring earplugs. Yeah, that's it. Don't be overwhelmed. This is really all you need. Get ready, try out your boots, get all your gear together, and just thrive in that excitement of knowing that you're soon gonna go to the Namib Desert. See you there.